Absolute disaster for the modern audience. Who's the modern audience? Let's get it.
Well, as you probably know, Bungie recently laid off a ton of people, including a lot of modern audience devs. I talked about this in a pretty recent video, a number of days ago, which takes us to this developer who apparently worked at Bungie for about 3 years, including working on Marathon, and talked about how they were apparently one of the people that got laid off. They got mixed reception to this post, some people saying they were sorry to hear what happened, others posting,
you know what? They get what they deserve, you know? Sometimes the true calling of the quote-unquote game developers who exclusively listens to the quote-unquote modern audience, this is their destiny, this is their calling, you know? Like, put the fries in a bag and put no cheese on my burger. Yes, that's where they belong.
Things like the Pepe put fries in the bag meme, but then they decided to hyper-focus on the negative responses, making a little bit of a compilation of sorts of some of those responses and captioning that as being a trans game dev in 2026 be like, showing, as mentioned, the compilation of some responses and including a picture of themselves for some reason. I don't know what the reason for that is. Is it like a main character syndrome thing or something? I'm not sure. And here's a little sample of some of the responses they put together in the aforementioned compilation. Some responses like DI higher, RIP, won't be missed, lol. You're part of the reason Destiny died, go woke, go broke, and...
Alright, holy... See? There's always gotta be a happy ending somewhere in this madness. Because... Man, like... It's kind of sad, you know. From the beginning of Bungie, and also what is this like? That what is this game like? Frick. But yeah, you know what? Like the beginning of the game where the core audience or the core player loves the games because of like how it was built, how it was like garnered the player base. And also like the lore, but then time goes by, and then the original devs got replaced by these quote unquote game developers, and just like move out from like the game's original lore until now. Like it's just pandering. It's just like, oh my gosh, like how many players do we need just because like we're shouting out to a certain gender? Yep. Like at this point, like this gotta be like the common strategy to milk out your player base. Just say you support this, just say you support that, and then you will get like a lot of money. I mean, it's a pretty good strategy nonetheless. Well, especially all right. Here's a fact that I guess like some would be triggered by this. The way like Pride Month is designed, just to have like companies to like milk the wallets or bank accounts who actually celebrates Pride Month, you know, because all they gotta do is create a colorful skin, sell that skin, and says like on the advertisement, like, we support this, we support you are beautiful. That's a good strategy especially when it's a month-long celebration. That's part of a good marketing, and you get lots of money with that.
Deserved, showing a number of Bungie's virtue signals. I'm not sure why anyone would even get mad at pointing out that Bungie virtue signals either. Like, why would you want to defend a corporation's rainbow capitalism like that?
But yeah, why would companies defend like rainbow capitalism? Because it works. They get a lot of money from this, especially for those who actually believe all of that, you know. It's just how that's how like the world works, you know. Like entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, they know this shit from the get-go, and they just
wasn't done there, or should I say ex-dev actually? I'm not sure, but anyways, they said this. I know a lot of these are bots, but remember to please support your fellow queer/POC game devs, especially in this climate. Being publicly a minority on the internet can be rather difficult at times, but I think it's important to stay visible as much as feel safe. You gotta love when...
What? Especially in this climate, being publicly a minority on the internet can be rather difficult at times, but I think it's important to stay visible as much as feels. Whoa, okay. Yo, all right. Like there's always gotta be an opposite reaction. If you stay visible and like spewing some either be some nonsense or hateful behavior, and it doesn't equate so feel safe. It's pretty much like when you're in a kitchen, or let's say like a busy kitchen on a Friday night, and you say you are a minority. Of course, you're gonna spew some takes here and there, but never forget, everyone can say as well. Like they can reply. So if like there's the old saying, if you can't handle the heat, stay out the kitchen. Yeah, sure.
They're difficult at times, but I think it's important to stay visible as much as feel safe. You gotta love when couch activists act like they speak on behalf of all minorities, like they are the arbiter of minorities. And it's like, dude, a lot of minorities hate posts like that. Here's an example. Dude says, I'm gay. It doesn't mean I'll subscribe to this tribal idiocy.
True.
Bungie deserve to fail for not making their customers happy. I don't care who screws who. It's retarded. Only thing I want is for them to be good at their job. Yeah, well, to people like that, it's, asking too much right there. They not only do they want to tell you who they want to screw, they also don't want to be good at their job. So, double F.
Yeah, like for the quote unquote game developers who are actually doing nothing, and like most of the time they're just entitled. I swear to God, like every time like they go to the studio and they just like point fingers, join a Zoom call or joining meetings without actually putting effort or like actually touching a piece of code. Yeah. And at the same time, like most of the times they will just hang out at the creatives department, not the actual the brick and mortar, or like the actual the backbone of the studio, which is the coding department. Yep, they're just at the creative department, sipping their matcha lattes, or I don't know, boba teas. I don't know what they drink, and just point fingers and oh, I represent these, represent that, go us, and just do nothing.
But then the ex-Bungie employee got completely ratioed by this response that quote tweeted them and said, this person was a concept artist, the department that stole from fan art for Marathon's design.
Ooh.
Now, of course, that person might not have been involved with all that. They may have had nothing to do with it, just happened to be from the same department. But nevertheless, crazy response. And a little bit of context here for anyone not familiar. Marathon developer Bungie has been accused of and is now admitted to stealing artwork used in the current build of Marathon from an artist who first published the work in 2017. The artist named Anti-Real. And so Bungie claimed that this was only one person that did it, and the rest of the department, they claimed to have not been involved. They didn't know anything about this. Look, I don't trust these corpos one bit, but that's what they say. And the irony is palpable. You got Bungie, giant corporation, now less giant because they laid a bunch of people off, but I digress. They virtue signal, pretending to be so wonderful, make a bunch of DEI hires, and that's what happens. They end up with Marathon and how that's going, and stolen art from an independent artist.
Oh
and
my
that is the
God.
latest. Thank you for tuning in. As always.
All right, now I remember what Bungie is. All right, Destiny 2 and Marathon. Well, that's a development, and at the same time, there's a different, the different matter where, I do respect a lot of the Destiny 2 player base, the keeping Destiny 2 alive. because like I hate for a matter of the fact that Bungie is actually forcing, or I don't know, like coercing like the Destiny 2 player base to move on to Marathon, or like because like Marathon is such a failed product that they are urging the Destiny 2 to move from Destiny 2 to Bungie, or I don't know, like they'll just pull the plug on Destiny 2, which is not the right move there. You'll just make the player base angry, and you just double down. They will just double down on Destiny 2 whatsoever. So the moral of the story is, don't piss off your player base, because they're your supporters at the first place, and at the same time, do like for the company, do not like pander just for virtual points or virtual signaling points, and like listen to the actual customers who are actually paying for the products. If you don't listen, there, you know what happens? No money comes in, and that's gonna be bad if you don't have money getting from the players. It is what it is. Rip Bozo.